Greetings and salutes, everybody. Welcome back here in, what you can see of the Treehouse Studio. And we're back on another episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes. Unfortunately, tonight, we don't have any extra special people on the council. It is just me and my co-host, Cutter, this evening.
Evening.
But guys, any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, just go ahead, feel free, throw them down there in the chat, like always with a Q in front of it. Like we normally do, we will get to your questions in time. But tonight, like usually on the Council of Airsoft Dudes, we skip the tertiaries and we get straight into the topic. Now, Cutter and I got together a few nights ago, and we hammered this out. And tonight's topic is, well, one, we should ask the question of all of you. Should there be a rule set, coast to coast, for open play airsoft games? For every base airsoft field that runs open play days, like on your Saturday catch-up games, or like, not special events and milsims and stuff. They have their own rule sets. But this just would make it easier, we think, across the board to travel from airsoft field to airsoft field playing open plays. Cutter, you have anything to add?
No, that was pretty much it. We were trying to think of basically a standard set of rules for different replicas. I have to say replicas now. Different replicas, and also different, I guess you could say, classes, DMR, that type of thing. And then I guess some of these rules could transfer to indoor fields also when we talk about FPS, joules, BB weight, so on and so forth. As we get more into it, yes.
Yeah, and we do have it's a big notebook, but it's only like a small bullet pointed list. If everybody can see in the camera, this is what we have. I was going to type it up and share it on the screen. Isaias is here. Awesome. What's up, buddy? But now, this is also for anybody who's international. We devised this list with the U.S. in mind. We're not thinking globally here, although we are taking some ideas from the global market, just because, like always, the U.S. just has to do stuff different, and I think the rest of the world has a better idea. And for us, primarily starting this list, I think a good way to start this, Cutter, is saying, number one, everything is rated and measured in joules. No more FPS.
Yes. FPS doesn't matter. I mean, even if your BB is doing 400 FPS, if it's a 0.2, that's not doing a lot. And you're not going very far with it, because a 0.2 at 400 FPS after so many feet is just going to fly off anyway.
Yep. And also, it's to understand, you must understand the difference between the measurement of FPS and joule. FPS is how fast the BB is flying. Joule is how hard the BB is flying. It's essentially impact. That's what the joule rating is.
How much energy is transferred from the BB to the recipient.
Yep. That is the most layman's terms, as I guess you could put it. But also, I feel that also takes into account for, like, joule creep, stuff like that, BB weight change, and that's why we stick with joules. Makes everything easier. So, as we get down into this list, and one, do you guys agree? Would you prefer joules over FPS? Let us know in the comments. But I think we want to start with that, just because, yeah. So moving on, when we get into anything to do with ratings of stuff, it's going to be in joules. That's what we're going to put it out in, just because we want to put that bare standard. I think we're going to, Cutter, do you agree we should leave the juicy bits of arguments where I think we're going to get it most for last of the joule ratings of all the replica classes?
Oh yeah, some people might be a little miffy about jewel limits
Yeah,
on
yeah.
particular.
We'll leave the jewel limits
Yeah,
and the med for last. I think those are the two
yeah.
things that everybody's going to kind of dogpile on.
Or possibly argue the most about.
Yeah,
You know, you get the people that, well, we don't want to hurt anybody, and then you get the people of, you sign the waiver,
hmm
you know what you're in for, and everything in between. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'll admit I do lean more towards the you sign the waiver, you know what you're in for side of it, but I don't want to hurt people. I don't,
Agreed.
you come to play, not get hurt.
Agreed. Agreed. So, uh, I think let's just get the simple things out of the way that are just kind of duh. This is gonna be there. I don't think anybody's gonna argue with any of these at all. One, full CLI Pro. Face protection is optional above the age of 18. Under the age of 18, full face protection.
Mhm.
That and that is no myth against anybody under the age of 18. You have to think about it across the board. This is an insurance thing with those
Yeah,
rules.
liability.
Yeah, it's a big liability thing. You can sign a waiver all day long, but when it comes to minors, it's a whole different beast. In when you get into the legal side of insurance and stuff. So those are does and dead rags pulled on hits, placed on head, rifle in air, um, or dead rag on rifle or replica, I should say. Sorry, old habits die hard. um,
Toys. These are all toys.
yes, yes. But those things are duh, 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 duh. Basic rules that are always going to be there. I think
And
there's
don't
one.
shoot somebody with a dead rag.
Yep. Now, let's get into the two that I think are going to start dividing controversy. um, one that I think we agreed on, is I just think it's because it's an overshooting issue. Um, and that would be no binary, no binary at all. We have other things to do with full auto, but no binary.
It mimics full auto and can sometimes surpass it.
Mm-hmm. And with the crazy builds that people build nowadays, with like DSGs, high rate of fire builds, um, yeah, as you said, Cutter, binary could surpass full auto easily because it's one, 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 and all you gotta do is do this, and how tightly you can get the tolerances on trigger
Yeah.
sensitivity.
When you can dial in those triggers to where you sneeze on it and it fires, and you get people that are actually very good at feathering a trigger. Yeah, that binary can surpass to the point of not being really too good for your gun. Surpass the full auto of it.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And this one falls under indoor specific rule. And now I think this is the indoor specific rule that I think is really going to get everybody going. No melee on indoor fields.
Agreed. Too easy to come around a corner too quick and accidentally poke somebody when you didn't mean to, and then it starts an argument or a fight.
Yep. We we actually did have a very very long discussion about melee rules.
No real steel, whatever.
Yeah. But we had a very very long discussion on melee rules, just because I have an interesting take on them. And my local field does an interesting thing with melee stuff, and we'll get into that leading next because that's where we're gonna go with the next rule. And Ghost asked a question. Please, guys, remember we follow the rules of other lives to help identify your questions. Put a Q in front of it, please, so it pops up in the chat a little bit better. But Ghost asked a question about binary. Okay, what about binary on speed games? To answer this question, I'm going to refer to the start of this. This is like your Saturday open play games. Um, speed games are usually separate from like they have their own fields usually for Speedsoft. I was thinking like the mass just like they cycle through different game modes type Saturday open play games. I don't I've never done Speedsoft games. I don't know how that works on like if they designate that separately. Um but I would accrue that with their Speedsoft rules. That's where I would put it.
Yeah, that's again that's almost I don't want to say an event like a milsim, but Speedsoft does have its own rules with like teams of 5, teams of 3,
Yeah.
whatever. Lucky plays over in CIA, and we've gone over and seen him, and their rate of fire, the way they can feather their triggers on their guns, I don't think binary is even an issue. They're they seem to be even faster than that just with a regular old trigger. Um, but again, they have their own rules. So this falls under just indoor CQB play.
Yeah. Um. Oh, and I knew I was gonna get a hit from somebody, especially him, about melee on indoor. What bull crap? This came from Shadow Ghost. What bull crap? You asked for it. What part of game melee is part
Part
of
of the
the
game.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it might be fun to
Yeah.
go around the indoor field, but it's I don't know.
We
I mean, you're just as close doing it in an outdoor field, and you probably be in the whatever little buildings or
mhm.
they might have outdoors or shipping containers. So the same possibility of turning a corner and an accidental poke.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's I thought of that rule in the way of more safety because with melee, I also believe with this. Um, so in the rule set for what is allowed in melee is expanded beyond just flexible rubber um, prop knives, like you use in airsoft now, where it has to be a flexible rubber um, replica airsoft knife. Um, I firmly believe, and in the rule set, agree with the allowance of letting you use like Nerf melee weapons, so like Nerf swords. So the soft foam, of course, soft foam, but the foam swords. Like you could go buy the prop foam replica Leviathan axe from God of War and use that as a melee weapon on the field. Um, because you're limited to a tap, not a slash or a poke. It's a tap. So, in the perspective of indoor, sneaking around corners, sometimes darkened areas, you're not always going to see somebody and can round the corner with something like a longer sword like melee weapon or something, and you could actually poke somebody, whether they're wearing iPro or not, or cause an issue some way, or potentially. I mean, I just thought of it the safety aspect more, and reduction of arguments. Because
with indoor, it is usually darker.
mm-hmm.
It is constantly closed spaces. There's no open, fields to try and sneak across with your sword or your axe. And I mean, it's always funny to see a video of somebody rushing the other team with a foam sword or a foam axe or
Now,
something. And of course they.
yeah. Oh, but now I'm not gonna say that there isn't gonna be a game mode that you could run on an indoor field that allows for melee. But across the board in like the general open games, yes. But I would say that would be reserved to a game mode for indoor fields. Um, and plus, like you Cutter were saying, I've seen plenty of games where people just like run the gamut with melees, and it almost seems unfair. Just like running a a full auto 3-round shotgun replica in indoor games, and you're just sweeping rooms.
Yeah, I mean, if you get one of the like a speed softer with a foam sword, he could zip through a CQB course and just be tapping people before they can even get a shot off. And like you said, it can almost make it seem unfair if he just goes through and goes kill, 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 and a whole team is like, what just happened?
But question: we're playing realism, and that is real life. I agree, soft foam all the way, but we're up close, and I'm out of ammo, and I'm going Cutter. He's
Okay.
stuck on it. I knew, and it's fine. You do you.
Yeah.
I knew not all of these were gonna hit with everybody, but again, these things could also. Some things I think could be also field discretion with melee, especially. It's up to them on how they want to, but yeah, I'm kind of sticking with it. It's just the across the board stuff. It's trying to hit everything that'll make everybody happy, but not everybody at the same time. Unfortunate truth of it. Even if this did happen and there were across the board rules, stuff like this would be put in there. If you really think about it.
And it could be field discretion too.
Yep.
You might have a field that doesn't want them at all because of and all they got to do is hold up the insurance liability card and you got to listen to whatever they say.
Yep.
Because if they don't want to take the chance of somebody getting hurt and suing them because of blank, let that be tag-in rounds or melee weapons or whatever. It's their choice. It's their field. It's their insurance, and it's their money. So you'd have to go by their rules. But we're talking about rules across the board that everybody might adopt, maybe.
Yeah, and we all know, even with some of these controversial rules and whatnot, like me saying no binary and Ghost automatically asking about speed. Well, the speed soft games. Well, that's a different game set on its own. So those rules can change and adapt. Like we said, these are like your Saturday open plays where you're going to play like a 15-minute TDM game to like open the day, and then you might do like a search and destroy or like a conquest, or you just kind of rotate through game modes. It's open play. People got different armbands to pick their teams, that type of stuff. Your standard game mode. But like I was saying, with like the sweeping across the board style rules is like we're asking the question in this. You're gonna have rules in there that not everybody's gonna agree with. There's gonna be stuff in there that people are like, this is bullshit, man. Because if you think about it,
Bro.
There would be some sort of governing body of a league that would organize these rules and enforce them, and everybody would have to sign up for it and that type of stuff. It's just, excuse me. It's just the nature of the beast. But
That's a whole.
What was that, Cutter?
I was going to say that's a whole nother discussion. The idea of a league and everybody basically signing in on it, and I mean
that's a way deeper one.
That's a whole other discussion, which could be for next time.
Yeah, we got a few different irons in the fire for the next council.
Yeah.
Nobody is taking my spoon. Yep. The team spoons. But let's continue on the
tactical MRE spoon.
Let's continue on to the melee stuff. Now, when you get in games where melee is allowed in outdoor fields and whatnot, when you get tapped, so your reward for getting a melee elimination is that person calls their hit silently and walks off for the rest of that game mode. Come up, tap, shh, you're out.
So their 15-person team is now down to a 14-person team. So if it's something for points or capture the flag or win, it's like somebody being in the penalty box in a hockey game.
Yep. Now, I took that from my local field out here because that's in their rule set. Because you think about it this way: one, in the grand scheme of things, a melee elimination in a game is really hard to get. To get that close to, like, even with the tactical spoon that Cutter showed, to get up and get your tap, your silent elimination that way, takes a lot. And usually either a lot of running in silence or just like super slow sneakiness. So that is the reward for pulling that off, is that person that you got the elimination on, that you go, you're out, call your hit. No, or don't call your hit, actually. Pull your dead rag.
Hey, buddy, you're dead.
Yep. And then that person silently walks off the field for the rest of that game mode. Not the rest of the day, just that game mode. So that the however long it takes to finish off that game, they come back in on the next one. But I really like that rule with melee eliminations. I really, really do.
And if you can kind of look at it as, if you get snuck up on, you deserve it. No, I'm just kidding. That's not being to be mean, but
It's not like a you deserve it, but it's good on them. They pulled that off and were able to be all like, shh, tap. Now we're gonna kind of move on a little because we're about to get past the standard cross the board rules and get into the interesting things. Respawn. So when you walk back to respawn in like a TDM or any type of respawn game mode, however many you have, you walk back to your respawn point, you have to actually be there for 10 seconds before you walk back onto the field to get back into the game. 10
Somebody walked
seconds.
up. Yeah. When we were at Shadowlands, if anybody came in with a dead rag on their head, I would walk up to him as the medic and basically hold my hand on their shoulder and count to 10 and say, okay, you're good to go. Whether you want to or not. Some of them went right back out. Some of them are like, well, I got to load mags, or I got to, But yeah, I agree. I agree with that 10-second rule. No ducking around and then coming around and coming back out, like,
And that's the biggest reason
nobody
why
sees you over here when you got shot over here. It goes back.
And I've heard it from other fields. I've seen it at games and fields that I've been to, where people just kind of wander and meander near close to the respawn and then just turn around and walk back. Like, they don't go all the way back to where they're supposed to. Or, like, some places they tell you have to go touch it. They don't go touch it. They just kind of get in the area and just turn back around. So that's why respawn 10 seconds, and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 10 seconds. It's like
it goes back to it being a game of honor. Follow the rules. Honor is doing what you're supposed to when nobody's looking.
Yep.
So play a fair game. Then you did. If you see somebody else cheating, well, that's on them. But you did the right thing. Nobody can call you out on that.
Correct. And airsoft is based on the principle of honor. So that is why you were supposed to call your hits and, not whine about it, not be upset, and just go back to respawn and then get ready for the next game mode. Or it's announce it loud, don't whisper your 10 count. Yeah. I agree with what Ghost just said. And announce it loud and don't whisper your 10 count. Actually stand there and 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, I agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, that was one thing we had to do at Shadowlands, is make sure we were saying it out loud and letting everybody know, hey, we are following the rules.
Yep. And like you can see that in like the Swamp Sniper videos, when you see like the stuff from Rev and all
Hmm.
of his other games where they have the revive thing, they actually have to count out loud when you're getting revved. Um, so it yeah, wholeheartedly. So even with spawn point, yeah, all around loud counts. Make yourself heard, not screaming it, but you know. Okay. Obviously, with these sweeping across the board rules, I'm not a fan of HPA, but I'm not. Obviously, they're not going to ban HPA. But HPAs will be chronoed and tournament locked immediately. No tampers, obviously. Um, Indoor fields. We're going to start with indoor fields on this. Um, Straight across the board, indoor fields are 1.14 joule max, measured with 0.25 gram BBs. That is also the max, sorry, let me back up. Measured with 0.20 gram BBs, because that's what all factories use to measure. It's the industry standard.
Hmm.
Um, so all chronoing will be done with 0.20 BBs. 0.25 gram BBs are the max weight for indoor. But indoor fields across the board for everything, 1.14 joule. For those of you that want the quick conversion, that's 350 FPS.
So even up close, that's not going to hurt too
Nope.
much.
And all styles of full auto must be limited to 3-round burst on indoor fields. Period. Those are across the board indoor field chrono joule rule ratings. Um, just because one, that's already pretty much the standard across the board in the U.S. for indoor
Oh, full
fields.
auto in the building.
But the full auto part is not. It's normally no full auto in buildings, blah, blah, blah. I am a proponent that you're going to find within this rule set where you can do full auto in buildings, but there's addendums to it. So,
Everybody has to agree to it. Everybody that's going into the field has to agree to it.
well,
That's my like. You don't want somebody just walking in thinking it's going to be a calm little game, and
uh,
everybody else is full autoing. That's not.
well, as with goes with indoor, it's 3-round burst only. 3-round burst only. There's no laying on the trigger. There's no spamming it out. It's 3-round burst only. So that means if you can't do a setting for 3-round burst with a programmable trigger, or you can't control a 3-round burst, you will not be allowed to do full auto. um, but that is for indoor across the board. There's no changing that. There's no altering that. That's already pretty much what it is, minus the full auto change. Um, I don't think that's really going to get too much arguments across the board because people are already used to it. I think they'll actually enjoy the full auto change though, if that ever got adopted.
Nobody wants to get sprayed. I mean, really.
Nobody does.
I mean, even when you can get single sector gears up into the 25 to 30 rounds a second, nobody wants to come around a corner and get a 1 second burst.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's going to hurt. So if that full auto setting is just a 3 round burst and you pull the trigger, you get shot 3 times.
Yep.
Not a full on. Oh, I'm sorry. In the time you said, oh, I'm sorry, you popped out 45 rounds at somebody, and that's just.
Now let's piggyback off that full auto discussion into the outdoor field regulations for full auto. Now, some outdoor fields have indoor sections, and again, the usual rule is no full auto in the building. Ever at all. Now, we're applying the same similar style rule from indoor to outdoor. So full auto is allowed in building, but only in 3 to 5 round bursts. No spraying or spamming on the trigger or holding it down. 3 to 5 round bursts in building. That means everybody who runs full auto, y'all need to start learning trigger discipline if this ever got into practice.
Or things like LMGs would have to have at least a minor MOSFET that allows it to do semi, which most LMGs are just full auto. Have it so that it can do semi, or you can program it to do 3 or 5 round bursts.
Well,
Because again, with some LMGs like your Mr. Torg, if you came around a corner and full auto sprayed somebody with that, that's not going to go well for both parties. You know, because that and again that I'm sorry, 45 rounds has come out, and if you had it set to where it's on a MOSFET and it's 3 to 5, at the most 3 to 5 are going to come out. You're not going to multiply. You're not going to multiply pull the trigger multiple times when someone's right in front of you. You might pull it once, but you're not going to continue to keep pulling it like you know. Oh, I'm sorry.
And
no, that's
I like from Sheboygan and other games I've been to, I've seen people properly implement full auto, and in the real world when you're trained on that, that's how you use full auto. It's not hold it down, because accuracy goes out the window if you just hold it down.
And you melt your barrel.
Yeah, that too. It's 3 to 5 round bursts. Period.
And you're not going to melt your barrel in airsoft, certainly, but
and that's why I apply that, because I understand why they say no full auto in buildings, because people just spray on the trigger and can hose down like an entire room. But those burst shots, that's where also trigger discipline comes into play, because it's real easy to just quick tap. That's all you need. And you don't need to be working on these fine-tuned hair triggers, just like quick little bursts. And then you'd be allowed to do it. But again, honor comes into play, where people you expect people to play with honor and do these things correctly. Got another question that popped up on the board. Ghost question. I have never heard of full auto indoors here in US. So easy to follow. But if we all agree, kind of sounds like fun in burst.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cutter, I do like your idea if everybody agrees, but I think the grand experiment in this sweeping rules across the board would be essentially, this is how it would start. They would allow it to happen and see how it goes, and it might change to a vote. Like it could end up being one of those rules that you get put to field discretion. Because it all you got to think about the players that are going to be there, and not everybody follows the rules. Unfortunately, you're going to have griefers. You're going to have people that are assholes. So some people might try to take advantage of it and ruin it for everybody. But if it's something that everybody could get on board with and actually try adopting, it would be great, because guess what? All full auto firing replica classes have the same Joule rating and the same meds, minimum engagement distance, for outdoor and indoor. They all match. They're 1.14 Joule. So SMG, LMG are 1.14 Joule. Let's just hammer out these full auto ones. And some of you might go, but my field does this with LMGs. My field does something different with LMGs as well. They also put a minimum engagement distance on them because they are full auto. But guess what? I took that away with this rule set, and Cutter also agreed with taking that away. There are 2 replica classes that have minimum engagement distances, and that is for obvious and blatant safety reasons. We'll get into that. But full auto don't matter. We are of the agreeing mind of everybody signing a waiver, knowing what they are getting into. You are playing airsoft to play a game where you are going to get hit with plastic 6mm BBs.
Not maybe. You are going to get hit. I don't care how good you are. You're getting shot at one point during the day.
It is going to happen. You will have to call hits.
Yeah.
It is part of the game. And if it's up close and personal, well, it just happens to be up close and personal.
But again, that goes back to the honor thing. Like if you have a 249 saw that can lay down 35 rounds a second, and you come around a corner and there's a squad of 3 guys and they're not paying attention, you could do 3 quick bursts. You don't have to spray half your mag at them to prove your point. So because they're going to turn around on you very quickly should you decide to do that, and they're going to be like, oh, we're playing full auto now, okay, and yeah, then it's on, and that makes for bad videos and bad YouTube, and makes the community look bad when that mom that her son comes to him at 14, 15 says, hey, my friend's going to an airsoft field for a birthday party, can I go? And she goes on to YouTube, punches in videos, and sees these mag dump freakout fight videos, and goes, oh, you're not going to that, thanks guys, you just took away a possible new airsofter to keep the hobby going. Stop making videos. Stop doing that. Be more honorable on the field. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. And this is why, in the grand scheme of things, if we came up with this list of potential sweeping rules, because also we want to put these rules into place to hammer down on getting those types of things to stop, and making airsoft look better, essentially.
If everybody did it for one airsoft generation, so let's say 2-3 years, because new things come out, and new gameplays, new fields, new players. If everybody did it for one airsoft generation for 3 years, in 3 years it would just be known that that's how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like if you came on the field, you'd have to sit through the first safety briefing or read that particular field's a web page about the rules, and part of the waiver is signing that you read about those rules. So if you break those rules and say, well, I didn't know, yeah, you did. You signed the waiver saying you did. So you can't do that ignorance of the law thing. There is no ignorance of the law. You should have read the whole thing.
And they also do safety briefs before every single game.
Right.
Lineman. Right.
That's across the country.
They and the safety briefs, obviously, this is just a shortened list of the rules that we think that should be standard, and we pick the ones that I think are most contentious between and shift and change between field to field. There are deeper, more extensive rules like use of grenades, and stuff like that, but we just kind of wanted to highlight probably like the base standard stuff, which is essentially chronos, jewel limits, meds, melee rules,
full game day stuff. Game day stuff.
Like even the normal game day stuff, we can get super deep with like launch replicas and grenade rules and stuff like that. But we just wanted to tap on the easy, basic stuff to start because, obviously, we didn't know how many people may potentially would have been on this, and we wanted to kind of condense the conversation because we could have, honestly, this episode, if we could have actually had a larger panel on tonight, could have gone for hours and hours and hours.
Especially adding other different points of view that could be completely different than both of ours. Like, no, you're both wrong. It needs to be this, and it's too many cooks spoil the pot sometimes. So if a standardized rule set were to be put together by some league, people would literally need to vote airsoft representatives at their field that would all meet with a regional one, and then like 6 or 7 regional guys would talk it out rather than 2,000 different field owners, because everyone's going to, and then they take that all back and say, hey, this is what we came up with. What do you think of it? And what do you think your players will think of it? And if it comes back and, everybody thinks it's garbage, well, then obviously we need to change some things, and take feedback. But I think in a very short amount of time with the internet that we have and being in the 21st century, putting a list together of fields and contacting field owners to see if this is something people would be interested into pushing forward, so that if I go to a field in California or I go see Squirrely in Iowa, I can go to his field and know all the rules because they're all the same. It doesn't
Yep.
matter which field I go onto.
Yep. Now, let's continue down this jewel rating list. Now, even with outdoor, like we said, all chronoing is done with 0.20 gram BBs and measured in joules. The standard rifleman replica class is 1.49 joule or 400 FPS. But we would all be measured in joules, so it would be 1.49 joule with 0 med. 0 med. It's not that bad. Now, I think the point of contention that we're going to hit is now into jumping from the assault rifle replicas into DMR. Now, DMR is at, what do we got? 75-foot minimum engagement distance, 1.68 joule, which is 425 FPS, but 1.68 joule for DMR. This is where I think we didn't tap on the rules, but I think we can have this discussion here. What classifies a DMR? I have heard field to field everywhere.
I can't.
Different classifications.
A lot of people argue that if you're going to follow the replica rules as it is, anything that is a 5.56223 is obviously a rifleman. Anything 308 or excuse me, a DMR has to be 308. You can't have a well kitted out M4 and say, oh, this is a DMR. Well, no, it still fires 5. I mean, yes, we all fire 6mm, but if you're going to go by even military classification, there is no military actual real steel product out there in 5.56. I think that's considered a DMR. It has to be at least 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor or something like that. So again, it would be a bigger, wider, thicker magazine. Again, we're all firing 6mm, so that argument is open to what you think it looks like. But if you're going to follow those rules, then the DMR would be something and be in a semi-automatic type configuration, not a bolt action. You wouldn't call a bolt action a DMR.
Well, obviously, bolt action is specified for
Right.
the sniper class. I personally have had discussions with other military friends of mine. I disagree with the classification by caliber. I think it should be by barrel length. I think it should be by barrel length. If it is 15-inch barrel or longer, and you can achieve that joule rating, and it is semi-auto lock, you can run it as a DMR if it's 15-inch barrel length or longer.
Even if it's an M4 mag, not a
Correct.
308 mag.
Correct. Because
that right there is especially among the milsim community is going to cause a lot.
Well,
The
that's
guys
the
that are a
thing
little more-
is you got to also think
And I know
about it.
milsims have their own rules.
Yeah,
And
but
we're talking about-
there are 5.56 caliber DMRs out there, and you can utilize like an M16 platform as a DMR because it does have that reach out and touch.
Yeah,
Not as effective, but it is possible.
I won't disagree with that part of it, but I still lean towards it's just got to be a bigger bore rifle, 7.62 308 to fall into the classification of DMR. I mean, maybe we have other military people out there that can weigh in, or I mean, even people that just airsoft. What would they consider? Would they consider a long 16-inch long barrel sticking out of an M4 with a scope on it, which
Well, and you also have to keep in mind when the M16 was first created, it was a 16 to a 20-inch barrel.
yes, oh, I know that. I remember it was, but it was still. I think it would also fall, but again, in airsoft, we're shooting 6 millimeter. But the reason I would say it would have to be a bigger bore is because of the amount of damage it does on impact. You may
And also,
be as accurate.
if you look into the chat, Cutter, Prime Tech posted the question, what about the Mark 12? Classified as a DMR? Yeah, shoots 5.56.
Yeah, that's my point. Or with what Squirrely was saying, there's what's it? Not changes to the rule.
Amendments?
Yeah, or I just used the term earlier today. I can't remember it now. Exceptions to the rule. That's an exception to the rule, and that's used in a specific. But yes, okay. Prime Tech is correct. I'm not going to say it's incorrect. But again, for the realism and the classification, and usually how people end up building them out, like I do, the 308s internally can reach out and touch more than even a built up M4, which actually isn't true because I built an ARP 91 shooting 427 FPS and was a sleeper DMR. So yeah, I mean, as far as distance and FPS and joules coming out of the replica, but it's do you go by what it can do, or do you go by what it looks like? And I think a lot more people would argue that the 308 has to have the big boxy mag to be counted as a DMR. But then you could also bring in the argument, well, doesn't that make a 50 caliber Barrett a DMR then? It has a big magazine and a bigger bore, and now there's probably people out there. I know one in particular would be like, don't you dare call my Barrett a DMR.
Well, and I've actually been around on the field here for that argument that actually took place, because a guy had a M16 that he had spec'd art for DMR, and they wouldn't let him run it as a DMR.
Okay, then give me a 0 MED with a 510 millimeter barrel and a gun. Sure, why not?
Yeah, right. And the funny thing is this brings up another argument I've been around for, and I've seen this. I've actually seen this happen. This happened at Central City. Somebody was running an LMG. His box mag messed up on him, and he had to switch over to using M4 mags. Out of nowhere, I hear a ref call out, "Hey, semi-auto fire without the box mag."
And how exactly is he supposed to do that?
Squeeze me a baking powder, and he literally just looked at him and was like, "This is a 249. There is no semi-auto." And he's like, "Well, you gotta have a box mag to do full auto." No, I almost wanted to argue with the ref right there, but one, I never saw them. They don't put that explicitly in their rule set. It is not in their rule set where it says that. I don't know.
Okay, so if you had an RPK with a great big banana clip in it,
exactly,
does that still count as an LMG, or does that count now as a rifleman because it's got a regular magazine in it?
And one of their field rules for LMGs is you can use a G36 as an LMG as long as it had a bipod.
With a drum mag, you mean, or just a regular?
No, just a bipod. Like if you had a G36 and it had a bipod, you could use it as an LMG.
Okay, now that's totally weird. That to me doesn't make sense.
I used the real world thing.
Yeah.
The option to put an M4 mag is there. That's why the magazine well is there. So just in case, you can slap one in. Now, They do jam more when you do that, but you can still fire full auto with it in real life. So why the hell did that come out of his mouth? It's a little sidetrack, but if we got into the
No, that
argument of what classified stuff,
right. Again, that goes back to now what classifies it. Is it the size of the bore of the shell it's supposed to be? Again, we're all firing 6 millimeter plastic BBs, but for the realism and the look and the classification and how they do get them end up built out, like that one way up there is my G&G 308 SR25, and it's got the fake big box mag with the replica shells and all that. And that thing's huge, long, and built out inside to reach out and touch somebody. But this little M4, it's not. You certainly wouldn't call that a DMR. It can't shoot as far. It doesn't have as long a barrel, and in the real world, does not have the same size mag. Sorry, Prime Tech. I know the one you're talking about does, but you get my idea. So
yeah, no,
again, it goes back to the classification of
yeah.
what you want to classify it in airsoft. And I think some of that should be put to what it can do, to that joule limit. Like if you have an M4, but it's popping out 1.62, yeah, you get a DMR tag on your and don't be shooting people.
And then you get a 75-foot med.
Yeah.
But yeah. I thought that was an interesting little thing that we never talked about that we could throw in here. That I know my take on it is different than a lot of other people's. So.
I mean, a bolt action, no matter what, is automatically thought of as the sniper. So that's an easy.
And we have snipers down. That is automatically a 100-foot minimum engagement distance with 1.88 joule or 450 FPS maximum. Obviously, that is capped on purpose because even when you hit that joule and you're using a heavier weight BB, ouch. Yeah, no, you don't want to be up close.
1.88 with a 4.0 or a 0.40. Yeah, that's going to sting a bit.
Yeah,
even at 100 feet.
But yeah, and snipers are obviously considered bolt action. But then again, that also taps back on, there are snipers that are like the Barrett that are not bolt action. So yet again, could you classify that as a DMR if it chronos?
I because of what would be done. Like I've never built a Barrett, but if I were going to build it out, I believe there's I don't know, I can't remember who makes it, but there's a 760 millimeter barrel out there. I'd put that in it, and I would build that out, but then I would almost classify that as a semi-automatic sniper because it can reach out and touch somebody just like the bolt actions, but it's mag fed.
Yep.
So
and you could say the same thing about SVDs or the VSS.
See, but an SVD is a 7.62 and it's mag fed, so to me that's a DMR.
Yeah, and the 50 is the Barrett's a 50.
Well, the Barrett, I think the Barrett in like as in real life falls under its own classification. You definitely would call it a sniper, but you would not call it a DMR because it's also mag fed.
Yeah,
that's what it's in a gray area between those.
Yeah. But let's go. Long range shooter, yes, barrel length to a point, but I think the real point is what you chrono.
Like if I put a stronger spring in my MGC4, I'm pretty positive I could reach numbers and reach out there like a DMR, but it's not. It's an M4. It's a small M4.
And I think with these classifications, we do have to take into account a little bit of, like, I guess, the stylization. That's why the DMR discussion, I think, is a nice one to have with people. because it is an interesting discussion because of like Ghost said, he's a long range shooter. The barrel length is there to a point. But also you can say the same thing across the board. If it's what you chrono, then cool. I can put a lesser spring in my M4 and I can hit the jewel limits to do full auto. Does that make it a submachine gun? Does that make it an SMG? And
Well,
then I
no,
can do
see, an
full auto?
SMG is considered anything with a PCC sized magazine usually.
Yeah, but that's where the discussion of it matters what you chrono is where I go. Yeah, but then I can make things chrono. Like I've and that's in. I think that's another part of the rules that I don't think we tapped on is no, you cannot drop your FPS in a assault rifle class um replica so you can do full auto. No, that's just not a thing. So there is gonna be distinction of like style like a lot of SMGs are usually classified as anything that is a pistol caliber. Period.
MP5
Yeah, like
example.
MP5, P90, um, PCC, PCC M4 variants, which are fed through 9mm or 45. Um, UMP. Like the list goes on for those, but the sub in SMG stands for, small caliber. So that's why it's the distinction for the chronoing comes down to with DMR across the board currently it's by it's got to be 308 762. It's designated by caliber style. And snipers usually always been designated by bolt action, so we would stick to those pretty much across the board. I think the DMR thing needs to be brought up in discussion.
Because I mean, I'll admit, and I have there's a couple people on here that have replicas of mine that would be considered by looks they are riflemen,
Mm-hmm.
but when you shoot them, the BB reaches that DMR limit.
Yep, and
So there's sleeper DMR, I guess, but
what's
but I again don't go over the limit to hurt somebody. I make it accurate and fast and.
well, what's really funny is I can honestly say I took my 416 to the field. The first time I took my 416 out to the field, it chronoed at DMR and they tagged it as DMR. But also the guy said, "Oh, you're good. It's a DMR anyway." The thing is I put the M27 stock on it. Now, the M27 and the 416 are yes, the same platform. They're H&K platform replicas.
Mm-hmm.
But the M27 has got a little bit longer barrel and it's got a different stock on it. I put the M27 stock on it because it's got space for nunchuck batteries. It was battery space choice. But I think the dude thought it was an M27 instead of a 416 because it changed the stock out.
Makes sense. Again, we're going by looks,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a change in the stock, not a mag size.
Yep. Yep. And it was clearly like it
Yeah.
was obviously a not it was it was 5.56 M4 mags like he's like, "Oh, you're good, just, minimum engagement distance, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay." I guess. And I think I was like, what was it? I was shooting 410 instead of 400, which that I think we could take as a deep discussion on variance, I guess.
Oh, Prime Tech just brought up a tangent idea that again could cause a whole nother discussion. I'll just talk on it real quick. If you have a DMR that looks like a 308, then it has to fire. He wants a revival of the 8mm BBs.
This is
So
okay.
if you
Hold on.
have a
Let me catch
DMR,
you. Okay, so Prime Tech says this is what Cutter's talking about. Prime Tech says this is why I think 8 millimeter BBs need a revival. So the larger, quote unquote, larger than 5.56 replicas would make sense. The extra cylinder volume would easily accommodate the weight, which would at minimum start at 0.30 gram.
Oh yeah, and that would be light. 0.30 and with an 8, that would be light. They'd probably be more like 0.36. My rough guess. But yeah, I mean that makes for an interesting thought of you now know a DMR hits you because it's an 8 millimeter BB hitting you, which is bound to feel different, sound different. I mean, you think, well, what's 2 millimeters? Trust me, 2 millimeters can make a big difference.
And I know 8 millimeter was an attempted thing. I
Mhm.
I I don't disagree with that, Prime Tech. Very good job, sir. Um I like that. If honestly, if they revived 8 millimeter BBs and it actually caught on like I really think it should have, like I don't know the full history behind the 8 millimeter BB thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sound like an
Neither do I,
expert on it. But if they
because
would have,
they came and went so quick.
yeah,
Not a lot of people know enough about them to be like, listen to the lore of the 8 millimeter BB. They just they don't know.
but if they would have implemented it in like okay, so only these replicas have fire 8 millimeter BBs, and they would be the DMR style replicas. So like your SR-25s, you know um your 308 your 308 caliber stuff, like anything that would be classified as your M110s. Um, I could I'd have to keep thinking because I don't really run DMRs, but anyway, they're out there. You know what they are. But if all of those they were like, yeah, this is going to now be DMR class is now going to be 8 millimeter BB. This is the new spec. And then you kept it with like, yeah, we could do 8 millimeter and a chrono of minimum of 0.30 gram with the same chrono joule rating of 1.68. Like, why not? I would be like that. I would then, okay, it's not the barrel length. Cool. It definitely is caliber because if you want to run DMR, you have to run 8 millimeter. That would solve the whole
That's
thing.
And if you wanted some innovation in airsoft, a new thing that could be built upon is change over SR-25 308 caliber types to the 8 millimeter. I think a lot of people that are long range shooters or like being the DMR class, I think they might be all about that, especially if you keep the price point the same.
Yeah, if they keep the price point the same, I mean, there might be like maybe a $10 to $15 jump. Let's just call it a $10 to $15 jump.
The internals, you'd want a little, you want to somehow increase the air volume. You're pushing a little more bigger size and heavier weight of a BB out there. So I would think the internals would change a little bit. A hop up
Obviously.
unit would all have to be new. So Max retro arms, get on that.
Well, and
I mean,
and the airsoft industry is always thinking of ways to innovate, change, and adapt, and try to change and become new. And right now, it seems like gas blowback moving into the U.S. is finally becoming a thing, which is currently the new innovation, quote unquote. But this could, if somebody out there is listening, some manufacturer, somebody Lancer Tactical, G&G, any of you guys that make DMRs, give it a go. Try bringing 8 millimeter back as a DMR specific airsoft caliber. Try
or
see if it
a
catches
gas
on.
blowback DMR, gas
Yeah,
blowback DMR that's 8 millimeter.
it's a new way to add a change to the airsoft game, and as long as we don't go any bigger than that, We just kind of
No,
leave it there.
no, because any bigger than that, you're getting into the bigger
Yeah.
paintball caliber. Those, I mean, you've seen pictures of welts and bruises those leave.
But it would also then, work with if these presumed across the board rules, and we stuck with, like, say, the minimum chrono for DMR is a point, or maximum chrono, or DMR chronos with a 0.30 gram 8mm BB and has to hit 0.68 joule and still maintains your 75-foot minimum engagement distance. And 75 foot, some people may seem excessive. I know some places with DMRs it's 50 foot, but if we're especially talking about up in the caliber on it, we're leaving it there.
Yeah, Prime Tech was saying the same thing about the internals that I was saying. Is there are certain things that would need to change because the nozzle and cylinder head would be bigger,
Yeah.
hop up, and but I mean, or maybe make a barrel hop up cylinder like kit that Prime Tech just talked about that you could put into an existing replica.
Oh,
Take an existing replica.
And magazine-fed semi-automatic sniper rifles turn 8mm. So, like, your Barrett becomes 8mm.
Oh, an 8mm. Yeah. That would be cool. That would be cool. And that would be fun to maybe bump up a little bit past limits just for some really cool target shooting.
But, like, I mean,
experiments are fun sometimes.
I mean, with all it's all those things, like with all the innovations, and plus, like, what is it? We have some grenade launcher replicas that fire just big old foam balls. So the idea is there. So see, there's a possible future change up idea. We take DMRs to 8mm BBs. Whoa, the future is so bright.
Well, I mean, just an airsoft for the class of DMR. Bump it up to the 8mm. Do swap out kits and new mags. They would still be the same size mag, but the feed lips would be 1mm open more on each side. That's it.
I don't think I honestly don't think the R&D would be that expensive to put this together. To get a prototype built and tested out, I don't think it would cost airsoft manufacturer that much more than it would a standard 6mm airsoft replica.
I'll use Max as a example. I'm pretty positive they already have very detailed CAD drawings of their hop up to handle a 6mm BB. It would take nothing to alter those CAD drawings and then send it to the machine that machines all that to kick out one that takes the barrel and the bucking, because those would have to be bigger also, of course. The barrel and the bucking of an 8mm setup. So they would just basically take their hop up and blow it up a little bit. Yep. Make it just bigger enough to take all that, and then, like Prime Tech said, a new nozzle and a cylinder head. There you go.
Yep. And like I don't think the gearbox housing or anything like that would have to change all that much.
You would use I think you might use a stronger spring, like let's say for a DMR where you would have used a 140 spring for a 0.36 6mm BB. For a 0.36 8mm, it might be a 150 spring. Just that little bit so that it reaches the same speed and say joule limit with the same weight. I know there's a lot of math there.
Yeah. But there's science.
I mean, I'm sure you get the idea, right, Prime Tech? Tell me you get the idea what I'm talking about, so I don't sound like an idiot. Please type you get it. No. Anyway.
There's a delay. Remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, although I do want to hear from you guys there in the chat of what you think of our little bullet pointed across the board rule set, presumably, if it was implemented, of what we think it really should be across the board. Um, I think I like the melee rules. I really like the melee rules. Melee eliminations with that is a good idea. Um, I like the tangent we took into making DMRs 8mm BBs instead of 6. I really hope that happens. I honestly
No,
hope that happens.
that's a good idea, Prime Tech. And if Isaias, you're there listening, you can talk to people at Lance Tactical.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
There's
yeah.
that right there. That's the MGC4 or the MGC 25. That's
Oh,
308.
oh. Honestly, while we got you guys here, I do have to say, one, it is good to actually have brought the council back after the long delayed absence of my life going on and taking weird turns and shit. It is good to be back here with my co-host Cutter, and I want to thank all of you for coming back to the Council of Airsoft Dudes. It is great to be back. Moving forward, we have yet to land on the next Council of Airsoft Dudes subject, but we will be coming up with another one here soon. With moving into the holiday season, I don't know when the next episode's coming, but I'm going to try to make it near the end of the month. Beginning of December probably is when we're going to do it, so it's a little bit after the giving of thanks. um, but I want to get more participants back into this. We've had a lot of good panels already in the past episodes of Council of Airsoft Dudes. I was a little bummed that I didn't have anybody that perked up and said they wanted to be on this one. I thought we really could have had really good discussions. Although the DMR discussion was a great one. I'm glad that I brought that up.
Good interjection, Prime Tech.
Yeah, and I'm glad I brought that up with you, Cutter, because I know my take on DMRs is different than everybody. I've had this discussion with a few people in Discord before. I've even had this discussion on airsoft fields with people before about DMRs and stuff, where I think it should be by barrel length. That's just me.
Now, is that inner barrel or outer barrel?
Outer.
Because I hide
Yeah,
stuff in.
no, it's outer. It's outer. You can't put a long ass inner barrel and then hide it under a suppressor.
Why? Like I said, that's how I make sleeper DMRs. That's how I made a P9 DMR. Had to lower the spring in that thing. That thing was way too. Phew.
But yeah, we will be coming up with another one. And guys, I want to announce here on the channel first, if you guys haven't heard, there's a new gas blowback replica coming out to the market through Airsoft GI. They're coming out with a new MGC4, the Mark IV. Now it is coming out in AEG, but they're coming out with a gas blowback replica. And I have talked about getting into gas blowback for a while here on the channel. But no, I am going to be finally dipping my toes into the gas blowback replica world. I will be purchasing this Mark IV when it comes out in April, which is sad. It needs to come out sooner. I really want it now.
I guess I'm going to be dragged kicking and screaming into the GBBR world, and the LeVar is different. That doesn't count. But yeah, the MGC4 Mark IV gas blowback. That's especially because it's on the MWS system. I'm just, yeah, I got to get one to have one.
Now, I had a discussion with Prime Tech on Discord about this, and I know he's in the chat, so he's going to agree with these points on what sold me on this. And I wanted to have this discussion here tonight, real quick, with y'all while I had you here. This is what sold me on it. Now, I've shopped around with a lot of gas blowback replicas. I've looked at a bunch. I've had my hands on a bunch. I've tested a couple. I like scars; those are fun. But with this one, I think out of the box, what sold me on it is TDC hop up out of the box. Total win. All metal construction. From what I understand, the trigger setup is all steel. So all the trigger parts are steel, which is
Yeah.
good.
No, they are.
So all the trigger components being steel, fantastic. And MWS system, as Cutter said. The MWS system. Now here's the other selling point that I had. MWS compatible Lancer Tactical, because Lancer Tactical is the company releasing this. Lancer Tactical MWS magazines that are reinforced feed lips, and they're only $48 a piece.
Which has got to be one of the lower priced gas mags I've seen out there.
And 35
That is
rounders.
that is,
35 rounders. I can't. And price point. Let me just tell y'all the price point of this. And I think this is another reason why Cutter is saying that he's being dragged kicking and screaming into it. $370.
When I was looking at other gas blowbacks, I was in like the 550 to 600 range without me even touching it. Mm-hmm. And then they go and offer that, and it just the way it, yeah. And like I said, I wouldn't mind having one. They're fun. They're more realistic with the blowback, and they have more of a kick. Well, of course they have more of a kick than AEG. If your AEG is kicking, you've got a problem. Or you've got a really heavy piston, which overall won't be good for the life of your AEG. But yeah, I'm interested enough. I want one. It's definitely on my list now, and has bumped its way up past some other AEG.
It has made me sidestep finishing out putting my black loadout together. Like, and also the purpose of me diving into the gas blowback replica world is ease of travel. Now, further on into my travels later on in the years of me going to events and stuff, I'm going to probably end up flying a lot more, and AEGs require a little bit more stuff to bring with. This will reduce how much I will have to bring with. So gas blowback, I think, is going to be easier to travel with.
I'm gonna stop in there. I'm gonna say I haven't traveled with a gas blowback, so I don't know. We had to take the batteries with us on the plane, mm-hmm. like on our carry-on, mm-hmm. and everything else was in the case for the AEG. That mm-hmm. was really it. And I was amazed at both the Cincinnati, Ohio airport and the Tampa airport TSA were both fantastic. They were both very helpful. It checked like luggage. It really did. It's not that difficult. So I don't think that's a consideration.
Well, the thing that I think about is, so in packing out for an AEG travel, there's the magazines, the replica, battery, BBs, charger. Right. Now, the reason why I say kind of reduces the load is less batteries to carry and worry about, because you're not just bringing one.
Oh, no, that's true.
Charger, as relatively small as chargers are, still takes up a little extra space and is one more thing to worry about carrying, potentially forgetting and losing. But with gas blowback, I can literally pack everything in the case, and it's all right there. And all I got to worry about is BBs. Cool. I'm going to have BBs on me anyway. And they're going to ask questions when you put stuff through the x-ray machine on why you have BBs with you. But yeah, and then buying gas when you get to the event. Woo. So.
Yeah, because you don't usually go to an event and with the idea of buying a battery. You buy a battery in an event because yours died. Yep. Or all of yours died.
Yep, but essentially it's just like everything's in one spot. It's there. Minus BBs. And if you don't bring BBs with you, you buy those at the field too. It's just part of your expense of the trip going to the event, which some events, I know some events occasionally like, yeah, we supply you with BBs. So
or because of the field, you have to buy their. If it's an outdoor, you have to buy bio BB from them. Like you have that sometimes is part of it.
Yep. Yep. So I just I just think the gas blowback is the easier travel. Easier travel. You know, that's just my thought
It looks
behind it.
with having the bolt in it and everything, and the way the action works, it actually looks more like a real steel. So
That's why you take the bolt out and put it in the case next to
yeah, there you go. You just slide the whole
it.
thing, take the whole
Yep.
thing apart into pieces.
Yep. No,
It's like,
just pop
what
the
do you think I'm
bolt
gonna
out.
do? Assemble it here? I mean,
That way, no. All you gotta do, see, this is where I put my thought behind it. You pop the bolt out, set it right next to the replica, and then have the dust cover open.
yeah, you can't do that with an AEG. It's all enclosed. That's
Hmm.
true. Okay, I can see
That
that
way they
point.
can go, oh wait, why does that have a little plastic thing sticking out of the tip?
That's gonna melt.
It just, and plus you have the magazines facing in a way so the field feed lips are all sticking up so they can actually see, and it's just like, oh, that's not normal. I've put a little thought behind all of this.
But I don't know how it is at other airports. All I know is that Cincinnati, Ohio, and Tampa, Florida, TSA,
And
they're
always,
racist.
I'm not lackadaisically saying that this is an ease of traveling and flying with airsoft replicas, guys. Always make sure to call your local airport, talk to the TSA, see what the rules and regulations are, because everyone is different. Yes, you can fly with airsoft stuff and check it like normal, but these are
Look it up.
replica things that are usually replicas of things that are normally dangerous in airports. So make sure you call in advance, you let them know, or you do your due diligence and research and talk to people ahead of time.
I mean, yeah, when we walked in to take our flight carrying military gear bags and gun cases, it was an all eyes on us situation. So yeah, also
Yeah,
just be cool about it.
yeah.
Don't
It's not.
no quick moving. Don't
It's not a, oh, I'm gonna walk into this airport looking cool. No, dude,
no.
you're walking into the airport to get on a plane like everybody else, and this is just a piece of luggage.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We got the looks, but it was some of it was nervousness because it's not a normal thing to see. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, it's allowed certainly, but most of the time I've gone to an airport to fly anywhere, I don't usually see that.
Nope,
Maybe seen it twice
nope.
max.
And and I'm not gonna lie, my current case that I have, my hard case that I have, is covered in stickers. Covered in
Yeah, so is
stickers,
mine.
and they're not, and it's not like all airsoft milsim related stickers. Oh no, it's a whole bunch of silly shit too. Like, it looks like a high schooler put that together.
Mine is literally covered in airsoft GI swag pack stickers
Oh, there's a bunch
of
on there too.
Cisco, Boaz, and Kevin.
There's a bunch of
I mean,
there's a bunch of those on there, but I got I got Grateful Dead stickers, I got Invader Zim stickers, like it's one of those things where, yeah, it may be, you could probably look at it and be like, that's a case for the, why is it covered like it's a kid's thing? I guess, stay weird. That's what I say. Like I told Squirrely, you can even travel with different uppers depending on the field or event, so you can change out during sessions. That's why I was asking GI if it had an NPAS included. See, I still haven't dipped. Prime Tech, I appreciate, and yes, that conversation was great, but I don't know what an MPAS is because I have yet to get my hands on a gas blowback to learn all the innards. Which I assume that means it'd be something so you can change the upper out, so you could essentially turn your regular M4 gas blowback rifle into a longer barrel M4. um, my
I've made it where one of the replicas I built had 2 hop ups with 2 different barrel setups. One barrel went all the way through the tracer without affecting the tracer at all
Mm-hmm.
for longer range, but for indoor, it was just a separate hop up tuned for .25s that went to the end of the barrel so that then the tracer could be turned up.
Yeah. Squirrely. Jason says, Squirrely, it's because you're a kid at heart because of all the stickers. Well, yeah, duh. I'm a big kid. I think all of us who play Airsoft at heart are all just children.
It's like we collect it's like all of us that collect patches now. I never would have thought I mean, I got 50 some. I know that's not a lot, especially compared to some collections I have seen. But I never thought I'd have 5 patches, let alone 50 of them, and probably 15 of those are from different people, like a Squirrely patch, TSA patch, Ghost patch. I have an RGK patch. All these different patches from different people, players. So, and when I first got into airsoft, that is one thing I didn't think I would collect, and I didn't get. I didn't understand the patch thing. Now I do.
Oh yeah.
Now I do.
And
But and when you go to events, you get a patch, and it says you went to that event. So it's a keepsake type thing, and it's
well,
also a.
and I also think that comes from because of, like, for me, I knew about I got the patch thing immediately because the patch thing is also in the Army, and I know you were in Navy, so patches I don't think are a thing in the Navy, but morale patches in the Army are a thing.
Yeah.
So
Like unit patches, but we didn't have that. No,
yeah,
not in the Navy.
well, it's not just unit patches. So like everybody's probably seen the patch where it's a picture of a squirrel and it says secret above it, and it's a squirrel holding an acorn, and it's supposed to insinuate the patch says secret squirrel. Um, so that is, I originally bought one of those years ago when I was in the Army, when I was in a training event in California at a clothing and sales store. And I bought one of those because, oh, my nickname's Squirrel. It says Secret Squirrel, haha. And I bought that, and there were a couple people like, yes, you can buy morale patches and do whatever you want with them just for funsies, and everybody does. But some people hand those out in specific situations when you earn them. So usually, like, the Secret Squirrel patch is, I know in some communities of like SF and lower end SF stuff, like if you run like a what we call a Secret Squirrel mission successfully, you come back and somebody will hand you a secret squirrel patch. Like you actually earned that. So Airsoft, I see when I noticed that Airsoft had a patch thing, I was like, oh, I get it. I totally understand it. It was just a transpose of military tradition of patches.
Well, what's funny is I got to swap out patches depending on what event I'm going to and who's hosting it. Because if you're hosting it, I got to put my squirrely patches on. If Dragon's hosting it, I can put my TSA patches on. I mean, and somewhere else, I'll always have one of mine on, and
Well, it's not about hosting either. It depends on like the team event you're going to. Because I always say, like for ST6 stuff, I treat it like unit patches. So you have to have your team patch on your unit patch side, which would be your left arm. But what other patches you wear, I don't give a shit. But yeah, I totally get the patch addiction. I really do. And I love that it's there. I really do. And the whole being a kid at heart with the patches and the stickers and Airsoft in general, it's just something that goes hand in hand. And PrimeTech actually came up with said a really good comment in there about traveling for your cases. He had a sticker made. He had stickers made that says for airsoft game and simulation use only that he plans on slapping on a hard case for when he travels. That's a really good idea. That is a really good idea.
Oh, DJ.
DJ, good to see you. Good to see you, my man. But all right, I think we're gonna leave the floor open here for a little bit. I know there's a delay, but if there's anything that you guys wanted to add to these ideas that we had for the sweeping rules coast to coast for open gameplay days, or you had any ideas for what you think should be implemented, go ahead and throw them in the comments here. We'll take a few minutes before we wrap it up and see what you guys say, or bounce off of anything that we said or had put out.
Yeah, if you want to circle back to anything and go,
Yeah.
what you were saying about that. No.
So like we got, I'll even like go down the list again real quick and just hit the bullet points. So we had no binary anywhere ever. No melee on indoor fields. Melee eliminations are with a tap, no slashing or poking, and the eliminated player must silently walk off the field for the rest of the game mode. And you can use soft foam, flexible rubber, so it's more than just flexible rubber knives. You can use axes and swords and stuff as long as it's made of a soft foam rubber. Let me add an addendum to that. Lightsabers are allowed. Lightsabers are okay, but again, restricted to a tap only. No swinging, no none of that.
Full on Jedi chop.
Yeah, no. 10 second 10 second hold at respawns before you re-enter game. Let's see. Indoor field joule limits measured with 0.20 gram BBs for chrono. All indoor fields are locked at 1.14 joule with a 0.25 gram BB weight max. Full auto on indoor fields is 3-round burst only. Outdoor fields, anything that is full auto, in building is 3 to 5 round burst. Out of building, you can lay on. SMGs and LMGs are at 1.14 joule with 0 med. Rifle class is 1.49 joule, 0 med. DMR 1.68 joule, 75 foot med. And snipers are 1.88 joule with 100 foot med. And currently we will stick with the DMRs classified as 308, 762 or higher caliber. We will save that other deep discussion for later.
Yeah, and on Discord or possibly later on in voice chat, that 8mm idea is going to come up.
Yeah,
I mean, bet on that.
That's gonna pop off quite well.
Wasn't there a Prime Tech probably knows better than I do. Wasn't there a Barrett that was shell ejecting with 8mm BBs?
Prime Tech was saying something about that they possibly made a Barrett that was 8mm shell ejecting back when they tried that. I'm sure if we peruse I'm sure we could probably peruse the internet and find out, because nothing is hidden forever on the internet. Ghost asked the question, why do I feel the melee rules are meant to handicap the ghost? Not fair. It's not just to handicap you. It's a safety thing. And that's only on indoor fields. Only indoor fields. Again, that could be a rule that would end up being like a field-specific change-up rule. Like, that is, again, not all of these rules are going to hype with everybody. Not everybody's going to be happy about them. But when you think about a sweeping across-the-board rule set, there's going to be stuff in there that not everybody's going to be happy with. It is what it is. Prime Tech says there was one Barrett. He commented earlier, so yes, he did say. I would like to see that.
Oh, I missed that comment, Prime Tech.
I would like to see that. I honestly would. Like, in person.
Oh, I know the rare, Jason. I mean, they came and went real quick, and one was because of the expense. The shells from them, I think the shells were like $4 a piece.
Well, and now we have
you plug one of those out and lose it. Yeah.
Well, and now we have there is now a shell ejecting M4 airsoft replica.
Yes, it's
like
actually very.
Oh god, yeah. Was it airsoft what was it, Airsoft
Airsoft
Mike?
Mike
Yep, he
did an
did a review
excellent
on it.
video of it, and he shows it on full auto, just clanging those shells out. And he bought the good brass ones, and he said they were expensive. They're
Mm-hmm.
not cheap. I mean, he
I
warned everybody they're not cheap. And everybody that I saw that posted stuff about it was the plastic ones that come with it are garbage.
Yeah, and I did look into the pricing of that, and that replica itself is $1,700.
Yeah, that's ouch.
The magazines for it were like $75 a piece, and then I think it was for a set. I think the shells came in sets of 10 or 20, and the
They come in sets of
brass
20.
yeah, okay, so it sets 20, and then the brass ones were like $48 for a set of 20.
Yep.
And then the plastic ones were like 25.
So
And that's not even one full magazine. That's not even one full magazine because they are 30-round magazines.
Yeah, that's so if you bought 60 shells, that's almost $100, and that's to fill 2 magazines at $75 a piece. That's another. So just for 2 magazines full of those brass shells, you're dropping another $300. That's a pretty good AEG out of the box. So you're now taking the inexpense of having a real steel replica and tossing it right out the window, because there are even people, I mean, so to get 2 magazines with the shells and the replica itself, you're dropping $2,000. Do you know the real steel AR-15 you could have for $2,000? I mean, and I know there's that's not airsoft. Yeah, you're right, but part of the idea of airsoft is to have a replica that doesn't cost as much as the real steel, and be able to own it, hang it on your wall, and actually play a sport and hobby with it. Like if that Levar was real, was real steel, it'd be 3 to 4 times more than what that cost.
And then you really compound it and think about it of somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take that and run it in a milsim. Okay, so think about it. Then you think about the expense this way. You're gonna run a milsim, which means you're gonna go to the milsim limits of Amazon. Your magazine carry of like Milsim West. You can carry a combat load of seven magazines for your replica. Cool. So that's $75 a piece. Comes with one magazine with the replica when you buy it at $1,700. Then you have to buy 6 more magazines and at least 210 shells to load those once.
No,
All
I don't want to
of
have to
those
sell my
once.
car to play an airsoft milsim. That's over the top.
And then you also
I
have
mean,
to
they
include the
have
cost of traveling to the event, the cost of the ticket to the event, food for the event, the rest of your equipment for the event.
and I think that manufacturer made, and they're a limited run. It's not something they're just
No,
pumping out.
no.
I think they made it as an airsoft anomaly collector item.
Yeah.
I bet you there's not gonna. If you really want a lot of those brass shells, you better hurry up and get them, because I don't think they're gonna make a lot of those either. Why would they? If they're not making a lot of the replicas, why would you make a lot of the replica shells and magazines and things like that? And that's somebody who's a hardcore collector, probably a hardcore gas blowback collector, and they want that for their wall. Period.
And I
To
think
play
honestly,
with it,
I think that's
to play with
honestly
it, I
going to
think is ineffectual.
be. Well, and
It
I think
just
honestly that's going to be more popular in the European market. I think it would be more popular in the European and the Asian markets because of um, their use of airsoft is not only is it because it's a fun hobby, but they don't have access to real steel like we do.
right.
So it's
So
more
that
of
would
that.
give even more the realism of
Yep.
a real steel,
Yeah. So they
and I
don't.
could see them one. But again, as a collector thing,
Yeah.
I've
Wholeheartedly.
said this before. I mean, I said this on a Scott Hollenbeck video. He splashed my quote across the screen when talking about it, that shell ejecting airsoft replicas, even I think, are really cool. I think they're neat. Effective in gameplay, not in the least. Okay. You could have a bag that could catch them. That's one thing. But even if you don't do that, then you're picking up shells and you're down behind cover trying to stuff a BB back in and load this replica back up. You fire 8 more shots and then you got to do that again while somebody over there with 100 mid cap is spraying you down. It just no. It's a
and then the
culture
flip
thing.
side of that is somebody who is determined to use that is gonna sit there pre-game and have like a bandolier or two and load all of those one by one.
Yeah.
Just so we can
And
have bandoliers.
2 bandoliers of let's say you did the 2 bandolier look of brass. Have fun carrying around 25 pounds. You know, and the same thing like you said with the Milsim with the 7 magazines.
Yep.
Those magazines with 30 of those shell, that's weight.
Well, and
that's a lot of weight.
I guess if you really want the full Milsim experience and you want to match weight,
and then go out with a metal detector the next day to find all your shells.
Or you just eat the money. That's like I thought of it this way. If
Oh
I ever
my
got something,
God, I can't even imagine.
If I ever got something like that, obviously I would win the lottery, so money would not be an issue. But that would be something where it's like I don't care. If I'm taking that to a Milsim, it's nope. It is where it is.
Every 21 every let's see if it's 40. Every shot is $2.40.
Yep.
Every one of those shells is $2.40 a piece. That's again that's a backyard plinker to have fun with when you have friends over. It's cool to have on your wall. It's fun every once in a while to load the whole, rattle all those shells out. Especially like you say in countries where you can't have a real steel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting for that. But for gameplay, I think it's ineffectual in use, and it just or not practical. I'll say not practical.
I think the only time I will ever come across owning, because I will eventually own a couple, but owning anything that would be considered shell ejecting or shell replicas are for Western games. Like, making it to the mecca of Bellahack to play the Western game. It's the only time I'm going to want that stuff.
Yeah. And there's like I've seen the wood mare's leg. I think that's neat. But again, that's not shell ejecting.
No, and you can get the non-shell ejecting ones, but for me, that's when I will go the full 9 and just do it, because the kit that I want to do for my Western build involves a lever action shell ejecting. So,
and I know there's a couple shell ejecting shotguns out there, but again, you have to sit and load the shells with all the babies, and it's just.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I still want an APS 870 shell ejecting replica.
Yeah.
But I do understand the cost that goes into that.
Some people hate the monotony of loading so much that even a speed loader with your thumb is not enough. They needed to get an Odin, and then even that wasn't fast enough. Now they want electric loading ones. You just press your mag on and it goes zip.
But
so to go all the way backwards actually, and now hand load all those. No, man, no, not for a game. Screwing around in the backyard, sure, but for a game, at Shadowlands I did use that Lavar, and right out of the block with it, I started and I snuck up. I did get a headshot with that from a good distance away, but the 2 companions with the guy lit me up. Again, even though that's not shell ejecting, it's still only 1 crack at a time, and I just could not keep up with the fire rate.
Yeah.
That got tabled almost instantly. Only because I wasn't hidden enough. If I had been hidden better, maybe, but.
Okay. Well, I think we covered it well enough tonight, and I appreciate everybody joining us for the stream this evening. And yet again, like always, it is awesome to have the Council of Airsoft dudes back in any way, shape, or form, even though we don't have a whole panel with us like normal. But I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. Keep your eyes peeled for the next episode of the Council of Airsoft dudes coming up at some point next month. Cutter and I will devise our next theme for the next episode, and hopefully we'll actually get a bigger panel next time, have some more voices on to hear their opinions. And like always, at the end of this, I leave my floor open to Cutter to plug his Airsoft channel, which the link is down in the description for. So Cutter, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Scrolly. Cutter Airsoft, I just dropped 3 teching videos. One is an unbelievable alteration to a gearbox that I did not do. But anyway.
Disgusting.
Also, the patch raffle raised $500 for Veterans for Airsoft. And the winner of the patch raffle gun, for those that have not seen the video, was Crazy Jason. So he put out his video showing him using it and doing a little pew-pewing with that. So yeah, that's about it right now. I will have more videos coming out soon. In November 15th, I will be going to Redacted in Mountain, which is actually being held by Veterans for Airsoft, and I'll be going there to present their charity check.
Awesome. And I will be vigilantly waiting for the video of that happening, because I know you're going to record that going down, and I will be excited to see the Veterans for Airsoft dudes in that video. Hopefully I get to make it to a Veterans for Airsoft event one of these days. Being a veteran myself, I really would like to support that event promoter.
Yeah, they do a lot of good work. They do a lot of work with veterans, and like I've said in other videos, they give veterans that camaraderie and the chance to use a skill set they have. Some of them have to meet other like-minded people and have that family and that community that they might have been missing now that they're out of the service.
Yeah, and Veterans for Airsoft is a great organization supplying that to veterans across the country by allowing them to play awesome milsim events at really cool locations all over the U.S. So good on you, Veterans for Airsoft, for what you do, and good on you, Cutter, for raising that money for him with that patch raffle. And I did contribute to it as well. So, of course, cannot wait till the next one, because I know you're going to be doing another patch raffle. I'm not going to say soon, but eventually.
Eventually I will, and I'm planning it now. I did a poll on my YouTube page. Seems like everybody out there, or most of the people out there, 61% at the moment, want more of a longer SR 25 type replica. Okay. So I think I might be going that route.
All right. Don't forget to make it 8mm.
If I can. And I don't want to give anything away, but I may possibly already have an idea of what to build that off of. Maybe. Not 100%. Not 100%. But we'll see.
We will see. And of course, guys, from here at Squarely Nuts Airsoft, I am slowly getting back into the groove of things. Keep your eyes peeled for finally more pictures of Sheboygan, or more videos from Sheboygan from back in April, which Cutter was there, and you've already seen them in some of the videos already from day one. I'm finally going to be getting that stuff out, and other reviews I got coming for replicas that I got waiting in the wings. So be patient. Things are coming. I'm getting back into the swing of everything, getting back on my schedule. And of course, every Monday, we're going to be doing our game stream. So join us here for that. But until next time, everybody, like I always say, never ever forget your battle cry. Nee!